What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today I've got for you a pretty sad and tragic story about a man's marriage and how his wife's childhood has completely ruined it for him. My wife's traumatic childhood is killing my marriage. This was originally posted on February the 6th, 2025. And just going to give an overall trigger warning here. There's quite a lot of abuse, manipulation, some assault, mental health struggles, accusations of infidelity, domestic violence, body shaming, controlling behavior, obsessive behavior, gaslighting, and attempted murder is mentioned, so just be warned. This is long, but I want to share my story and hear your thoughts. I am a 46-year-old man, and I've been married to my wife, who is 45, for over 20 years. We have 3 teenage kids. Until recently, I would have said we had a wonderful marriage. But as I look back, I think out of pure love and obsession, I've been looking at things with rose-colored glasses. We met in college. Her best friend went to the same college as me, and that's how we met. She had a tough upbringing. Her mum was very young when she was born, and her parents were never married. She didn't meet her biological dad until she was in her 30s, which is a story for another day. Her mum isn't really a good person, and they are no contact with one another. Until my wife was a teenager, she shared a bedroom with her mother in her grandparents' house. They were more like sisters. When she was a teenager, her mum got married to another awful person. She had an affair with a married guy. Eventually, he got divorced and married my mother-in-law. He had 2 kids who were slightly older than my wife. Imagine what that was like. Merge 2 families with teenage kids. Their dad cheated on their mother and then shacked them all up in one house. I can't imagine. There are countless stories of the horrors my wife went through as a child. Her mum told her she should have aborted her, tried to push her out of a moving car. There were smacks and slaps. My wife was never complimented growing up. I've never heard my mother-in-law compliment my wife. My wife was always smart, did well in school, didn't get in trouble, helped around the house, cooked for her family. She was, and is, very pretty. Her mother only criticized her, and it was constant. As if that wasn't bad enough, she was SA'd in college by some friend of her stepbrother. To say that this has taken a mental toll is the understatement of the century. I have loved her with every sense of my being. I've supported her in her therapy. I'm by no means a perfect husband, but I've tried my best to be supportive and loving. Anyway, fast forward to today. I've been married for over 20 years. My wife obviously has a lot of issues stemming from the above. I love her more than anything in the world, but it's not been easy. I've borne the brunt of some pretty outlandish treatment, and I'm wondering if I've been blinded by love, and if this is not a safe and healthy environment for me. I don't know if I could ever leave. I don't know if I could do that to her, or do that to my kids, but I'm starting to feel like I'm only here to serve the purpose of providing support. Financial, emotional, physical, and parenting. So, here are some of the things that have happened. About 5 years ago, we'd gone to a beach location for a long weekend with a lifelong friend of mine and his family. It was an all-around great time. One night, while we were leaving an amusement park, we were walking with the kids for ice cream. We walked past the bar and a baseball game was ending. My friend and I say to the wives that we want to grab a drink and watch the end of the game while they get ice cream next door. Everyone seemed fine with it. This is something I never do. My friend and I were gone for 20 to 30 minutes. When we got home, my wife lost it. She couldn't believe I abandoned the family for half an hour tops while they ate ice cream. That was the first time she hit me. She punched me 4 times and threw a chair at me. I was shocked. This pattern escalated over the next few months. She slammed the shower door on me, breaking it and effectively trapping me naked in the shower. If she'd not brought a screwdriver to remove the shower door, I'd still be in there. Right before the holidays in 2019, 4 months after this hitting started, my wife had a disagreement with my daughter. My wife made a mistake and said something she shouldn't have. It should have been easily fixable with a quick apology, but my wife turned it into World War III with my daughter, which I thought was unnecessary, but my wife and I put up a unified front with our kids and addressed things later. After my daughter went to her room to be punished, my wife and I went into our room. I tried to calm her down, but apparently she wanted me to match her level of outrage, and my wife unleashed the fury on me. She punched me countless times. I ended up with a bloody nose and a cut beneath my eye. I'm over 6 feet tall and I'm a pretty fit guy. My wife's almost a foot shorter than me and maybe 80 pounds lighter than me. I sat there and let her punch me countless times. I remember being frozen and also being afraid. I didn't even want to grab her hands out of fear I'd be blamed for the fight and arrested. She was unhinged, screaming as she pummeled me. It was awful. It was really fun to coach my daughter's basketball game with a badly bruised and cut up face the next day. After this, I freaked out. I realized the situation had gotten way out of hand. My wife apologized profusely. I said I couldn't go on like this. Our kids heard the commotion and we later had to talk to them about it. I told my wife this wasn't safe for me. She had a near breakdown out of fear I'd leave her. She discussed this with her therapist. We went to couples therapy for the first time. It was a mess. I've come to realize that therapists, or at least the ones we've seen, focus on the patient with the most needs. Given my wife's past, she has the most mental health issues, and so that is where the focus was. It was really hard to be put on the back burner. COVID came and the couples therapy stopped. We tried again last year, and that was worse, for the same reasons. What else has this marriage been like? Well, we've always been very sexually active. My wife is very beautiful. She gets attention anywhere she goes, although she usually seems oblivious to it. I sometimes feel infatuated with her, but she grew up with a mother that hated her and constantly took her down. I have always complimented her beauty, her intellect, how wonderful of a mother she is, how incredible of a cook she is, how incredible of a hostess she is for holidays. She's amazing in so many ways. I think I'm good looking, but nothing special. I'm in good shape, but I'm going bald and I've aged. Most people would say this guy is punching above his weight. I was good with this for a long time, but I think as I started to feel somewhat insecure as I aged, I'm not particularly vain or anything, but I look for reassurance from her about my physical appearance. For the first time in my life, I felt insecure. I almost felt embarrassed. She didn't come through for me, quite the opposite. She'd never really complimented me about my appearance our whole relationship. Maybe she's just brutally honest. I don't know. One night, after we were intimate, she told me how small I was. This was a completely unsolicited comment after 15 plus years together. I think I'm average down there. I've measured myself and I'm just under 6 inches. I always thought she was pleased, so hearing a complaint in that department was quite a blow. By the way, just letting you know that if you are just under 6 inches, that is actually above average. She later admitted she said it to hurt me out of some sort of anger. She wasn't even sure what she was mad about. She's tried to walk that back, but it's been tough. Not long after that, I asked her what was physically attractive about me. I was just looking to feel better about myself. She told me there was nothing. Those were her words, and she was kind of shocked that I was taken aback by that and hurt by it. Hey, I asked, so I guess I deserve it? She's tried to walk that back a lot over the years as well. Around that time, we went to dinner, and I sort of said, hey, I'm over 40 and for the first time ever, I'm feeling anxiety and stress over work, the kids and life, etc. I asked if she could try to be more supportive and caring, but she said no, that she was a good wife already and was providing support already. She couldn't do any more. Exactly what you want to hear from your partner. We actually talked through a lot of it. I expressed how it made me feel. She apologized for what she said. She's actually way more giving of compliments than she ever has been. She's improved there, but it feels forced, only being said because I asked her to. It doesn't always feel sincere. I've discussed it at length in therapy, and I'm basically good with my appearance and what I can and cannot control, but I still think it was unnecessarily mean of her. My wife has a massive fear of abandonment and has massive trust issues. She regularly accuses me of cheating. I've been nothing but faithful. I have to travel some for work, on average about 3 days a month, some months more and some months less. She regularly wakes me up in the middle of the night to FaceTime to see if anyone is in my room. There's obviously never been. One night, last year, I had to travel to give an important big presentation. I had to give it the first thing in the AM. I prepared for weeks and it was stressful. I'm presenting the work of my team, so the pressure is on me to show the good work that everyone else has done. My wife and I spoke around 10 o'clock, talked for about a half hour, and I went to bed. At 2 a.m, I woke up to banging on the hotel door. She had somehow convinced the hotel manager, huge national hotel chain, so I'm not sure how this is compliant with their policies, to check on me because of an emergency. I realized I'd maybe missed 10 calls and maybe 30 text messages from her. Yeah, I'd been asleep. So we FaceTime, we confirm there's no one there in the room with me. She wasn't sorry or anything. She was mad that it took her so long to get a hold of me. I was now wide awake and I had to give this presentation. Then I had to work a full day, attend a work dinner, all of that on basically 3 hours of sleep. My wife has always been insanely jealous of other women. My first boss after college was like 4 years older than me. Her husband worked at the same company. My wife hated her, I guess because I'd talk about her. She was the person I worked closest with. I basically gave up any female friendships that I had, not that I was particularly close with any other women. One thing that was a particular issue for her was bachelor parties when all my friends were getting married. She hated the idea of me going to a strip club. Okay, fine. I don't particularly enjoy strip clubs. Nothing against the workers there, but I just see it as they just want some money and I don't need to pay to see a really attractive woman. So anyway, neither of us had strippers or anything like that at our bachelor and bachelorette parties. I had a great time at mine. We played golf, went to an awesome dinner, and then gambled afterwards. Anyway, some friends of mine did go to strip clubs for their bachelor parties. I always told my wife, and she wanted me to attend. I offered to skip that part, but I don't think she wanted to be seen by my friends or the other wives as controlling or a stick in the mud. I really don't know. But she wanted me to stay in contact the entire time. It was a little over the top, but I did it. I would literally text her nearly the entire time I was there, describing the situation, just talking about the night. Not sure why I even went to that part of the bachelor party. This happened 3 or 4 times. So she wants you to go, but she actually doesn't want you to go, but she only wants you to go so not everyone else calls her controlling, and then she wants a play-by-play for the entire time you're in there. What on earth? Anyway, when I got home, I got the 3rd degree. She examined me, she smelled me, she examined my body for evidence, examined my underwear. It was crazy. Before the last one, I said, I don't want to do this. I don't even want to go. But she didn't want that. She wanted to go and stay in touch. She promised to back off some, but she didn't really. At one point, a bouncer came over and told me to put the phone away when I was texting. So I did. I guess he was worried I was taking pictures. No, I wasn't taking pictures. I was staying in touch. Typing this out makes me realize how ridiculous it was. Yeah, but you don't realize it at the time. You're just in this pattern of abuse, but only when you come out of it and you're fully out of it do you actually understand how bad it was. This is actually terrible. Anyway, let's continue. All of this would have been no big deal. These bachelor parties all happened over 10 years ago. Recently, she was talking about her best friend's bachelorette party, which was years ago. My wife was the maid of honor. She'd always insisted that she never went to a strip club ever. Well, recently, she said something about the men pulling her friend up on stage and embarrassing her. I was like, where was this? Even in that moment, I wouldn't have cared that they went to a strip club. I trust her. Or until all this, I fully trusted her. She insisted this was at a, quote, typical bachelorette party restaurant that wasn't a strip club. I don't know what that is. Does anyone know? No, because that doesn't exist. I said that it felt like she wasn't being honest. She was offended. I said that I thought that the real issue was that she thought I might have put her through the same thing she put me through. I said I didn't like it, but it was so long ago, I don't really care. But she doubled and tripled down. So she goes to the other room and texts her best friend and comes back and hands me the phone to show me the text. She asked the friend, "Did we go to a strip club for your bachelorette party?" Which seems like an odd question to ask someone out of the blue, and the responses seemed odd. So I asked my wife, "Is this the full text exchange? It feels like something is missing." So I look in her deleted texts, and sure enough, there are deleted texts. I restore it, and the response from the friend is, "Oh, that is a definite yes." So I look at my wife shocked. I don't even know why she went down this path. She then says her friend is wrong. Now I'm annoyed and I'm asking, what happened that you would lie about this? What did you do? Horror stories about bachelorette parties are running through my mind. We have an argument over this where I am gaslit to heck. Doesn't remember, her friend is wrong, that's why she deleted the text, she didn't cheat or do anything wrong. All the comments about her level of attraction to me come back to my mind. No real resolution, but she promises me that she will figure out exactly what happened. Fast forward about a month to a holiday party we went to. We see her best friend for the first time in a few months. Of course, they talk a lot amongst themselves, which is absolutely fine. We leave, and 20 minutes later, we're in the car driving home, and she gets a text. It's from her best friend. It includes a screenshot from one of their other friends, and the best friend text says, "Wife and I just cannot remember what we did for my bachelorette party. Do you remember?" And the response is this whole description of a comedy show that they went to. The entire thing is so contrived, it's almost comical. There's no way this is true, and it's so clear that they discussed this at the party we were just at, and then came up with this plan. I feel so manipulated. My wife is in the passenger seat, and she is almost giddy reading the text and saying how they've now solved the mystery. Honestly, I think this is the worst thing so far. Like, the dumbest plan ever. It's so obvious what's been happening, and your wife is dumb enough, or I suppose insultingly thinks you're dumb enough to believe this absolute bull. I have no idea what happened at that bachelorette party, but the whole story and the lying was so unnecessary. She's still holding firm to her story, whatever it is. I wouldn't have even cared if they went to a strip club because I trusted my wife, but this story has made me lose trust. And now all the abuse over the years is coming back to me and making me see things differently. Have I ever been loved? Is my wife capable of love? Did she cheat on me? Am I the world's biggest fool? I love her and the family we've created. Obviously, there are so many positives to our relationship that I didn't list, but can all the positives in the world make up for all of this? Okay, now before we get into my thoughts on this and the update, which came 6.5 months later, OP first of all did leave this edit in the comments down below, pretty much saying, "Firstly, all comments and the DMs have been so caring and kind, even the ones trying to smack some sense into me. There's a lot of love out there from kind strangers. Thank you. Based on an exchange in my DMs, I'm sharing that the physical abuse did stop 5 years ago. She worked with her former therapist who specialized in CBT, and she's more in control of herself. I'm not sure she fully acknowledges the pain this has caused me and the kids, and all the other nonsense has continued. I'm not sure this changes anything for me though." I mean, this has just been so sad so far, because you can tell the more and more that OP is writing and going back through his past trauma, the more obvious it's becoming to him that he has been suffering for such a long time. I think he knew it already, but writing it out like this, I suppose anonymously on the internet, maybe even not anonymously, but then having people comment and give their thoughts and like say to him in DMs and everything, you can imagine the response to this. He's probably been like, "Oh my goodness me, how did I not realize this sooner? It is so obvious, but I've been living a terrible, abused life for such a long time." And he's right at the end as well. Like, even though perhaps the physical abuse has stopped, it doesn't take away from the fact that he has been manipulated and controlled, and any other sort of negative verb you want to use there is probably apt, for 20 years, which is just so sad. But yeah, there is an update to this one, which came 6.5 months later, as I said. I haven't looked at it. I never do look at the updates, by the way, because I want to react to them like you guys are, sort of live, if you can understand what I mean. But I really hope that it's positive. Let's see. I posted several months ago about my 20+ year marriage and how much nonsense I have put up with. People mostly gave harsh but good advice. I wanted to give an update and come back for more advice. So, back in February, when this was first posted, I insisted on a 2-month separation. Remember, the original post was February the 6th, 2025. We told the kids I was traveling for work, and when I was home, that my wife was traveling to meet friends. My wife hated every second of the separation. I had some conditions for returning. We tried marriage counselling again with a third counsellor. This one was better, I guess, but my requirement was that my wife take the lead, find the therapist, give all the backstory on the abuse, the insults, etc. She did all of that. I further insisted that she tell the complete truth on anything inappropriate that has ever happened with another guy, including at her friend's bachelorette party. This took a while. At first, she held to the same story. Then she started saying things like she was working on it with her therapist, working on how to tell me. She somehow didn't understand that a statement like that was awful for me to bear. Obviously, my mind went to all the worst places. I ended the separation in April with the idea that she was making progress. We discussed her physical abuse of me a lot in therapy. The abuse really peaked in late 2016 to 2018. She told me at that time she became very resentful of me. I'd gotten a promotion and she overall felt that everyone thought I was awesome and she was jealous. Wow, what a nice feeling to have about your partner, by the way. At the same time, she got into excellent shape. She's always been very attractive, but at that time, my youngest was like 6 to 8 years old and she still had some baby weight. She shredded that baby weight and looked incredible. I guess I'd gained some weight around that time and she thought she didn't get enough attention or credit relative to me. I don't know. She says these things very matter-of-factly. She did a lot of CBT work and specific work for abusive partners. She owned it with the kids and we have several good conversations. I thought we were turning a corner. Can you turn a corner from being jealous to the extent that you abuse physically your partner? I don't think you can, but let's carry on. Anyway, I've been frustrated by the lack of disclosure on her friend's bachelorette party. So, in June, I said I was leaving again. She actually handled this much more calmly and maturely. We still saw each other and even did date nights. We were even intimate. Not sure what the separation was. So she said she'd focus on what happened and was getting ready to share anything and everything with me. A couple of weeks ago, she asked me to join a session with her therapist. She wanted to do a therapeutic disclosure. I wanted to throw up. A therapeutic disclosure. Oh my goodness me. I go to the therapist's office and she proceeds to tell me how, at her friend's actual bachelorette, they went to some show. No strippers, just drinking and silliness. Then she says that her friend's work friends threw her a bachelorette at a hotel, and there were strippers there. In my wife's words, it was wild. Now, context for this in my prior post, I really don't care if she saw strippers. I care more about the double standards she applied and the lying, as she treated me like trash whenever friends of mine went to strip clubs for their bachelor parties. She said that she never touched any stripper, even though multiple approached her many times, at first in G-strings and eventually fully nude. Lovely. But that's all that happened. Who knows if it's true? I don't care anymore for reasons I'm about to get into. This is all in front of this therapist, by the way. So then she says that I asked if there was anything with any guy that she hasn't told me. If this wasn't long enough, brace yourselves. She had this other friend who was in the middle of a divorce in 2016. Friend was a fitness instructor at a gym. The friend met a retired professional athlete at the gym. I remember the friend being obsessed with this guy, all while technically still married. Well, my wife and this friend would go out and meet up with the retired athlete and his entourage. My wife would effectively play wingman for her friend, and one of the entourage took an interest in my wife. My wife claims nothing ever happened other than flirting, but that when they were out, this guy always had his arm around my wife, constantly groping her butt, often tried to kiss her, sent D-pics, bought her a thong bikini for her to send pics back to him. My wife said she never wanted it, but never fought it. She liked the attention and mostly wanted to support her friend. Her friend eventually had a falling out with the retired athlete who moved away. So, that whole thing sucks. So I'm completely stunned. My wife is crying. The therapist is spewing some nonsense about my wife's bravery. What? Is that actually what therapists do, by the way? Bravery? Is that a joke? Sorry, what the... I mean, I know therapists aren't judgmental and they're doing things for the benefit of your future. But how is that brave to disclose the fact that you did this to your husband? Like, it's not brave. It's cowardly, the fact that you did it in the first place and then took, I don't know how many years to actually tell him. What? That is a joke. Let's carry on. She said she was brave because I requested disclosure of anything that might have been remotely inappropriate, and she has come through for me. What on earth? I leave. My wife follows. My phone starts blowing up. It's my wife's best friend who calls 10 times. She then starts texting me, swearing to me that what my wife is saying is true. There were strippers at bachelor party number 2, but my wife did nothing. Texts start pouring in from her other friends, confirming this story. It's the same thing again, isn't it? So she's gone to her friends saying, by the way, I'm about to disclose everything, but I'm going to need some backup here because I'm probably going to continue on with the lie. So if you could just message my husband afterwards saying, oh yeah, by the way, everything your wife said was true there, despite the fact that none of them were in the room with you and the therapist, that'd be great. Fantastic logic. Then I get a text from her friend who paired up with the athlete, and she confirms the story. My wife was only doing her a solid, taking one for the team. So great. Let's get a few more people involved in my life, my humiliation, the crumbling of my marriage. She could talk to all these other people about all of this, but not me. She needed a therapist there to talk to me about it. It just feels like one big manipulation. So anyway, I feel completely done. I still love my wife because I guess I'm just a simp. We're separated. I've spoken to a lawyer. My kids know and they're furious with me because I'm the one leaving. Be kind to your partners, people. Love them and respect them. I adored my partner and still do, but it wasn't enough. No, you can't end it like that, man. You can't. I mean, this is what people like OP's wife do to people like OP. Even despite the fact that it's so obvious to all of us right now that he has been abused for so many years and that he's done nothing wrong. In fact, it sounds like he's been an unbelievably good husband and dad. His self-esteem is at an all-time low because of this. And he's thinking, oh, if only I'd loved her more, if only I'd gotten in better shape, etc. Like it's insane, the abuse. But yeah, what a sad story. The saddest thing about it is that I could definitely see, like, there's a world in which all of us fall into this. And because I imagine it starts pretty gradually and you think, okay, I didn't like that, but I'll allow it, that emotional abuse, that scream or whatever, then maybe it turns into like a push or something. You're like, oh, I didn't like that, but I'll allow it. You see what I'm saying? It's a slippery slope. And eventually you go from being at the top of it to the bottom of it. And then sometimes you're like, well, how have I got here? And you look up and you're like, wow, what has gone on? And I guess that is how this sort of thing normally works, and how, you know, people allow it to go on for so long because they don't realize how bad it is, and they're just used to it and they think it's normal, and their self-esteem is so low and they've been manipulated so much by people like OP's wife. But yeah, very scary. And I know as well, which is very sad, that a lot of you listening and watching this right now probably have been, or maybe you still are, in a similar position, which is terrible. But yeah, use the comment section below this video as a sort of therapy. If anyone's going through something, drop it in the comments, like OP got on Reddit. So much love and support. So yeah, get in the comments. I'll be down there as well. Thank you for listening and watching to this one. Tough story, but an important one. I will catch you on the next.